about the best I could do if I count it once it down.
700 people. We beat Seattle. We beat Seattle.
Where would I sit?
You got to have dial clear. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you give me a dimension?
All right. To start, if you could make sure you turn your cell phones off, all right?
18.
Or put them on vibrate.
We got room.
Kind of interesting how our society has completely changed with those things, isn't it? All right. My name is Matt Shea. I'm state representative from the 4th Legislative District out of Spokane Valley, Washington. Thank you all for being here today. Look around you. I was told the Liberty Movement was an echo chamber of a small amount of people. Take a look around you right now, okay? Wow. Look at this. We're packed to the gills. We're packed to the gills because we love freedom and liberty. We're packed to the gills because we have a champion for freedom and liberty who wants to be President of the United States. Amen. Exactly who said that. Amen. All right. I'm going to introduce first a great friend of mine. He is a member of the Slavic Church here in Spokane, Washington, and who also has been a liberty-minded person for a long time because he lived under communism, and he doesn't want to live under anything like that ever again. So welcome you to the prayer. Welcome Alex Stropko for the prayer. Alex, come on up.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, we are gathered here today at a time when the eyes of America are set on November 2016. You look at the predicament we as a nation find ourselves in, morally, socially, economically, and geopolitically. And it seems to me that the State of the Union can be described with one word: disgrace. How did we get here? And more importantly, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to pray about? You know, the Proverbs 16:34 says this: righteousness exalts the nation, but sin is disgrace to any people. Righteousness, that's what's missing in America today. From a White House to the state houses around the nation, to the schoolhouse, and sadly, sometimes in our house. And since righteousness begins with repentance, I say we come before Almighty God today with a humility and ask Him for forgiveness and also pray for righteousness. Would you join me in prayer, please? Dear God, we come before you today with broken hearts of this nation. I know it is where it is because of our sin. And so we ask you today, Lord, forgive us our trespasses. Give us strength and courage to turn from our wicked ways, and please heal our land. Many of us are crying to you in unison with drowning Peter, Lord, save us. As for a person who is going to occupy White House next, I ask that of all his credentials that he is going to possess, let the chief one be righteousness. I ask in the name of our blessed Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. May be seated.
All right, I want to give a special thanks today to a few people: the Republican Liberty Caucus of Washington, the Republican Liberty Caucus of Spokane, the Spokane County Constitutional Republicans, Northwest Grassroots, Patriot Radio, Radio Free Readout, Rick Rydell's radio program. Thank you, Rick, for promoting this. I know you're on the air right now. Also, Washington Sound Money Committee and the John Birch Society as well. Elected officials, if you would mind acknowledging our elected officials that are here today also from the 4th District and the capital of free Washington, Spokane Valley, Representative Bob McCausland, Jr. We also have the first Republican Spokane County Treasurer in 54 years who ran on the Liberty platform, my good friend, Rob Chase. And also, some somebody as almost a voice crying in the wilderness in downtown Spokane. Spokane City Councilman Mike Fagan, where are you? And from Spokane Valley, Washington, City Councilman both Ed Pace and Rod Higgins. Where are you guys at? We also have running in Spokane Valley, candidate, and I hope he is here, Sam Wood. Please stand up and be recognized. You here, Sam? All right. No, he's not. We have, as well, former state representative and one of my dearest friends, who is affectionately known as Father John Ahern. John, can you please stand up? We also have former state representative Lynn Schindler here as well. Lynn, can you stand up as well? And former state senator, good friend again of mine, Jeff Baxter. Jeff, where are you at? And last but not least, Monterey County Commissioner Karen Skoog. Karen, thank you for the fight you're doing up there. All right, it's my pleasure for the flag salute to introduce another great friend of mine, somebody who's been involved in the Liberty movement and has, I think, the only cowboy hat on in here. My good friend, oh, is there one more? Ah, Perry has one, okay? My good friend Doug Katz, come on up here, my friend.
Where there's liberty and freedom-loving people. And so I can't help but recall what was said when they came out of the Constitutional Convention and they asked, I think it's been frequently asked, what kind of government have you given us? And his response was, a republic if you can keep it. And so I'd like us to stand together and pledge our allegiance to the flag that represents a republic. Not a democracy, it's a republic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please remain standing. We're going to have somebody do the Star-Spangled Banner. A leader in the Liberty movement who is a young person, and we need more young people. How many young people we got there? Just raise your hands above the crowd. Look at that. We need more young people, and not you, Kevin. We need more young people in the Liberty movement, and Whitney Marshall is one of those people. Whitney, come on up and sing us the Star-Spangled Banner. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose last bright and bright star up Rob Chase, again, the first Republican treasurer in 54 years, who ran on the Liberty platform, to talk to you about action.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Fellow lovers of liberty, like the founders, we're here today because we see a need for liberty. But are we prepared to do what it takes to preserve liberty and restore the republic? We can't do much about New Hampshire or Iowa, but we can do something about the Inland Empire. In 2008, we organized and made national headlines by sweeping the Spokane County Republican Convention for Ron Paul. The battle starts here in our precincts. In Spokane County, there are 344 precincts, each of which is small enough for one person to have a profound effect. We can't do much about New Hampshire, like I said, but each of us can do something about his own precinct. If the founders pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor, then we can get off the couch and go to our precinct caucus in March and vote for liberty and Rand Paul. I met Rand Paul a little bit earlier, and I didn't worry about sound bites. He got to talk to us, and believe me, he is the real deal. And we can go further, too. At our caucus, we can be elected as a delegate to the county convention. At the county convention, we can be elected as a delegate to the state convention. At the state convention, we can be elected as a delegate to the national convention in Cleveland and vote for liberty and Rand Paul again. So, fellow lovers of liberty, we have a duty to God, to our families, and to our jobs, but we also have a civic duty. We can't be the first generation in America to hand off a legacy of serfdom to the next generation. So please make your way to the sign-up tables outside this door, and after Rand has spoke, and write down your information legibly so that we can contact you when and where to go for caucuses in March. Like every campaign, this is pretty early in the season, but like every campaign, this one's going to be a roller coaster, like every one I've been involved in. So let's get off the couch and give as much support to our country as we give to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Because if we had followed the Constitution, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today. And there is only one candidate, I believe, who will follow the Constitution. So let us restore our republic by electing Rand Paul as our next President of the United States. Thank you.
All right, now we are going to have a video from someone who knows Rand Paul the best.
I met Rand on a beautiful spring day in April. Thought he was cute. He was a cute, curly-headed guy. I also thought he was probably 18 years old and still in college. He looked so young. So I kind of blew him off at first. But Rand kept trying. He was kind of persistent at the party, and he came up to me again a little bit later, and we started talking, and during our conversation I realized that he was not 18. He was 26 and a surgical intern at Georgia Baptist, very intelligent, very well-read, and really like no one that I'd ever met before. Rand is the middle child of 5. From what I've heard from his siblings growing up, he's a lot like he is today. He was opinionated, had a lot of energy, played a lot of sports. He also loved to collect coins, which is something that he used to do with his grandmother. He was very close to her, and through the years, as her eyesight began to fail, he became her eyes to spy the faint mint marks on the coins as they would go through them together. But Rand never forgot how sad it was for him to watch his grandmother lose her vision, and I think that really cemented in him the desire to be an ophthalmologist. One of the most gratifying things for Rand in his career has been the ability to do eye surgery on children from Guatemala starting 15 years ago, and now he's gone back to Guatemala and operated on hundreds of other patients there. One couple that Rand told me about was especially powerful and memorable. He operated on a woman who had not been able to see. 2 days later, she brought her husband, and he was also blinded by cataracts. And Rand described them removing his patch and him seeing his wife and her being able to see him for the first time in 7 or 8 years. And he said it was an incredibly moving experience. I think it's moments like that that really speak to who he is as a surgeon and what motivates him. Rand is a wonderful dad. He's got great energy and enthusiasm, and he's always been a wonderful builder of forts, bonfires, anything active and outside. From an early age, all of our boys loved sports, and Rand has coached Little League baseball, soccer, you name it, he's out there. Being a physician gives Rand a unique perspective in Washington, simply because he's trained to diagnose a problem and find a solution. He truly believes that if you believe in something, you should get involved. If you put your mind and your energy to it, you can do it. And I think that's a great example for our kids. And it's also something that makes him an amazing person to be married to. Rand has the energy, the ideas, the honesty to really help restore the prosperity and hope in our country. He loves making a difference as a doctor, and he believes that he can make a difference as the president.
Do you want to restore the Constitution? Do you want to defeat the Washington machine? Do you want to unleash the American dream? It is my great pleasure to introduce the man who's going to introduce Senator Paul, a lowly dirt farmer and a Super Bowl champion. And my good friend and the largest person in this room, Clint Didier. Let's give him a round of applause.
You never thought a dirt farmer would get that kind of response. Matt, before I get going, I want to thank you for your service to our country. And I want to thank all of the veterans. Can we have a show of hands for all the veterans out there? Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You enabled this little kid from Melpope to live his dream. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Fellow Americans, patriots, our state and much of the West is on fire. America is drowning in debt. This administration is negotiating with terrorists. Christians are being attacked and killed all over the world. And a Holocaust is happening here on American soil, and we're paying for it. Have we been transformed from the land of the free and the home of the brave to the land of the constrained and the home of the cowardly? I say no. Hell no. Because I see a whole audience of patriots here in defiance of tyranny. Amen. We the people, the first 3 words of the most powerful document on the face of the earth, besides the Bible. We are in a fight for the heart and soul of America. Right. And we need a leader. We need a leader that is principled, that has integrity, that has character and values, that is truthful and honest, and is a man of faith. Ladies and gentlemen, that leader is Rand Paul. And we need him in the White House. Rand stands for life. He's the one that initiated the process of getting the signatures to bring Planned Parenthood to a vote on the Senate floor. we could expose the cowards that won't stand for life. And we have. Rand has done that. I mean, when you look back at World War II, they're called the greatest generation because they stopped Germany from taking the Jews into extinction and what they were doing to Europe. Are we going to sit idly by, or are we the people here in this room, going to be the next generation to stop this Holocaust? And those videos are despicable. They're horrific. How can we allow this to happen on American soil? I said it on my radio program just the other day, 101.3, Tuesday mornings, 8:30 till 9. Now we know, a shameless plug, now we know why America has lost God's grace. When we won't stand for the first thing in our Declaration, life, our unalienable rights that our founding fathers said, these were given to you by your Creator, not man. Life, liberty. So I ask you, who stood on the Senate floor for 10.5 hours and filibustered against the drones and against the Patriot Act? Who was it? Rand Paul. Yes, sir. It was Rand Paul. Who took on Chris Christie in the first debate with his emotional argument? That he had to hug the victims. Oh, I feel for him, but who took him on? The Fourth Amendment. The mechanism is there, ladies and gentlemen. All they have to do is go to a judge and get a warrant. They can collect anything they want on anybody with a warrant. It's there. It's in our Constitution. Who is the first to point out the 14th Amendment, the writing, the intended author, did not include illegal aliens? It's written right in there. Rand brought that up first. Who stands by our Second Amendment right? Ron Paul. And Rand Paul. And Rand Paul. Ron Paul and Rand Paul, and it was there for a reason. And it's got strong language. Shall never be infringed. Right. And don't get any stronger now, ladies and gentlemen. Who wants to implement a flat tax, 14.5%, and get rid of this IRS? Rand is also against the Iran deal. Can you imagine giving Iran $150 billion to buy intercontinental missiles? It's insane. And the hidden agenda of it all. This administration said they would be the most transparent. I beg your pardon. Who wants to rein in the EPA and the Endangered Species Act? Rand does. He wants to repeal Obamacare. He wants to give our health care back and create the best health care, and you can see what kind of man he is. Giving people vision. He wants to secure our border and make sure we remain a sovereign nation. He wants vouchers for our vets and a complete shakedown of the Veterans Administration.
Yeah.
He wants to get rid of the Department of Education and give it back to the states so that he wouldn't operate our children. He wants to bring in all these agencies, the BLM, the EPA, U.S. Forest Service. Plan on how we can renew our forests. Number one, we get these agencies out of the UN where they're bringing back this ridiculous management practices. And then we go to the American Lands Council, we release all these federal lands in the West to the states so that we can profit. We start harvesting timber and creating revenue. And remove the wolves. You know, it's amazing. Our own media here, when a lone terrorist creates his heinous crimes of killing innocent people, they call him a lone wolf.
Yeah.
Why? Because wolves kill for pleasure. And we're putting terrorists in the hills to take away our neighbors' ability to ranch. And I have a friend, Dave and Julie DeShields, that have a flock of sheep that are thousands. They lost 300 last year to the wolves. They've lost I don't know how many this year to the wolves. They're not getting reimbursed, which is your tax dollars to reimburse. And they're going to sell out, ladies and gentlemen. So the fuel load's going to get even bigger. We're not spraying for pine beetle, spruce bud, we're creating the problem. And then they try and manage it so it's catastrophic so they get the federal money. It's all a big game for them. Rand Paul will stop all of that. Who wants to get back to a limited government? Who wants to reign again? Rand Paul. And he wants to adhere to the Constitution. He wants the Constitution back in the hands of we the people. This is our country. It is the supreme law of the land. And right now, there is lawlessness everywhere. From our federal government to our state government to our local government. In closing, I've used this before. Vladimir Lenin, he stated, we don't have to fire a single shot to defeat America. We can use the useful idiots it possesses to undermine the three pillars of their society, their patriotism, their morality, and their spiritual belief. That's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. That's what's happening. Well, I say that we stand with Rand. And I say we stand shoulder to shoulder with Rand, and we fight our way back to the light, to the truth, to our Constitution, and to the Lord God Almighty. That is our salvation. That's how we're going to get our country back. It's going to be a long road, and it's going to be tough times, and I'm telling you right now, Joe Gibbs always told us going into a game, get yourself ready for the worst possible predicament you can imagine. I mean, you got to use your mind, and you got to visualize, and you got to see. That way you'll never be surprised. You'll be ready for everything. I'm asking you to get ready for anything. We don't know what's in store. But we know we got God on our side. And as long as we keep Him number one in our book, we will be good, and we will be glorious, and this country will survive. Is Rand ready? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce to you the next President of the United States, Senator Rand Paul.
Spokane, thanks for coming out. Looks like the Liberty Movement is alive and well and hacking itself into the room. About a month ago, I stood for 10.5 hours on the Senate floor to defend your right to be left alone. Justice Brandeis said that the most cherished of rights by civilized people is the right to be left alone. I think if you were left alone, you might manage your forests a little bit better out here. I think if you were left to